We have breaking news on the social media front. Instagram is making a huge feature change, and this is so big that I threw out my entire library marketing show editorial calendar to record this episode. We are going to get into it and how I think it might impact your library marketing in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Hi, everyone. If you're new here, I'm Angela Hursh. I run a blog called superlibrarymarketing.com. And before we get into this new Instagram feature change, I want to encourage you to head to the blog, give me your email address. So you'll always get a notification when I post. Plus, you can ask a question to be answered in a future episode. You just click on the Library Marketing Show tab. You can also nominate a library doing something great for library marketing for kudos. But for today, I want to get into this topic. I was actually shocked when I read this. Instagram is going to implement a feature that would let users reset their recommendation feed. That means they would be erasing everything the algorithm has learned about them in the past and starting over from fresh. Instagram says this is part of its plan to try to make algorithms and try to make the feed better for teens who often interact with posts and then end up getting a very toxic feed. So I totally get that. But I know a lot of adults in my life who would think that a reset of the algorithm would be a good thing. These are usually folks who don't work in marketing and don't understand how the algorithm works. And I wanted to talk about how this could impact libraries, especially as we're going through the social media guide for libraries on Super Library Marketing over the next couple of weeks. And because the number of libraries who moved from X to Instagram was pretty huge in 2024. So lots of libraries are posting there. Here's what I think. I can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but I think this new feature may cause a temporary drop in your reach and engagement on Instagram, because the users who are normally interacting with your library posts, all of that interaction is going to be erased. So they have to, again, make the effort to go to your library's Instagram profile and interact with it in order to continue to see your stuff. That kind of stinks. I think if you have a lot of followers who reset their feed, you're going to have a difficult time because the competition to get back into those people's feeds is going to be pretty fierce. I will note that Instagram said they won't erase what the algorithm knows about a user for ads. So in other words, this will impact their recommendation feed, but the ads that they get served will still be using the data that the algorithm learned previous to the reset. So if your library's advertising on Instagram, don't worry, you're still going to have that data, but regular organic reach, I think, is going to be severely impacted. The other thing I worry about is we lose that connection with our audience. So we have less ability to predict how our audience is going to behave and interact with our posts. There is an article about this. I've got a link down below. It's from Social Media Today. I also did some research to see if other blogs were talking about this impact. I'm going to put a link to one that I really liked down below. Also, you may remember earlier this year, we had a month in which I got a bunch of requests from people asking for help because their Instagram engagement had taken a dip. I'm going to put a link to that video up here, and I think you may want to rewatch that and think about the advice I was able to give in that video. If you see a drop in engagement, this might be to blame. Just keep an eye on your stats, and we will hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So knowing all of that, are you worried about this change? And how much does your library depend on Instagram for organic social media reach? Who are you targeting on Instagram? I'm very curious to know. Let me know down in the comments, and let's get a conversation started. That is it for today's episode of the Library Marketing Show. I'll be back next week, and my channel is full of other videos. If you want to continue learning, head to this next video, and I'll meet you there.